So let's go ahead and draw a free body diagram. So we are going to release or remove the wall at the left side. That wall gives complete restraint, translational and rotational. So that's represented by the two red arrows perpendicular to each other and the one unknown moment, which is restraining the rotation. Over at the right end of the beam, we remove the roller. We put a force that is perpendicular to the ground. The ground is horizontal, so that force will be going up and down. And as we go ahead and also think just a little bit about the arrow or the applied external load that's at an angle, 1 to 2 angle. So using a triangle, we'd end up with the hypotenuse being square root of 5. And so we can find the components of that force using similar triangles. So take the 10, multiply by 2 over root 5 for the vertical component, multiply by 1 over root 5 for the horizontal component. So as we look at this, we see that we have 4 external unknowns, but we have a hinge inside our structure. So we are going to unhinge the structure. And right now we have too many external unknowns for our 3 equations of equilibrium. So we unhinge the structure, thereby exposing the internal hinge forces. Those are equal and opposite. Right? Orange is for our internal forces. Labeled them F10 and F11. Good discussion often happens around what to do with this force that's sitting right there at the hinge. And the answer is we can actually do an infinite number of things with it, but all we would need to satisfy is that when we put these two diagrams back together, diagram AB and diagram BC, what we need to get is the whole structure free body diagram that it came from. So we can put that 10 kip load on one side, we can put it on the other side. We could break it up into 5 and 5 on both sides. And again, all we would need to satisfy is that when we put point B back together, we are going to have only a 10 kip force that shows up. So let's kind of take just a little bit more inventory down here. I have 4 external unknowns, which is what I had up there on that whole structure free body diagram. I've got 2 internal unknowns, which are sitting there at the hinge, right? F10 and F11, giving me a total of 6 unknowns. And now I've got interesting discussion to be had here. I actually have 1, 2, 3 free body diagrams, but I actually only have 2 that are linearly independent. Any 2 diagrams will be able to create the 3rd diagram. So for instance, if I have diagram 2 and 3 and I put them together, again I get diagram 1. If I had diagram 1 and diagram 2, I could create diagram 3 from the information that sits in 1 and 2. So these are not 3 independent, linearly independent diagrams. So I actually only have 2 linearly independent free body diagrams, each having 3 linearly independent equations of equilibrium. So this is a determinate beam, so statics will be enough for us here.